So how's a brew? So first things first, I've finally reached 1,000 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing for somebody as small as me, so thanks very much for that. That also means there will be a competition coming in the next couple of weeks. I'm not too sure how to do it yet, so if you've got any suggestions on how I would administer that, let me know. My plan, I think, really is just to get people to tweet something, and then for me just to pick out that, because I think it's probably the best and easiest way of doing things. I don't really want to do it via email, because I think this one will probably have a lot of people entering, and I think if I set it up as email it'll be ridiculous. I'm going to give away a load of apparently kind of stuff, and there'll be probably things like a Chromecast to be given away and a load of other stuff like that. So so that's what's going to happen. That will be in the next coming weeks. I'm going to have to decide what I want to put in the package. I need to go and get some Cornish tea as well from the Cornish Tea Company, or Cornish Tea and Coffee Company, so that can go in a box. And a few other bits and pieces, and then I'll have to try and figure out who can actually enter, who can't enter, and all other kind of crap. So that's going to happen. It's probably going to be about 100 quid's worth of stuff, I guess. I did think about maybe throwing in an Nexus 7, but I don't really have enough money kind of kicking around for me to be able to do that, because I don't earn enough money from this to be able to move that forward. And I've also got an amazing t-shirt by Looney Cartoony, who is on Twitter at Looney Cartoony, and is also on Redbubble and loads of other places, which is a good cop bad cop tee, and it's amazingly good. I think it came from Snappy Kid, actually. It was like one of those. It's one of those like weekly deal websites. There's loads of them kicking around at the moment. I think I got it from the day of the shirt, was like the original thing, and then I found it from there, and it's absolutely amazing. And it only cost me something like 13 quid, I think, including postage from the US, which is pretty good. But it's a sweet top anyway. So yeah, I shall put the links in the description below for that. Before we actually get on to any actual news, after this I'm going to do a video on why ICIL is a load of bullshit and why it's crap. So go and check that out after you've watched this, because that should be quite a good video, hopefully. And there's going to be another video coming out, I'm not too sure when, at some other point relating to something completely different. It is quite sunny outside, and I was going to do this outside in the middle of some field somewhere in the middle of the countryside. But I can't do that now because the sun keeps being inconsistent, clouds keep coming over, and so I'll set the ISO to something, because if you do it to auto it'll fuck up. I'll set the ISO to something, and then the clouds will roll in, and then it'll be really dark, and it'll just be really annoying. And because I don't have a cameraman, and so I've decided not to do that for a minute. I might maybe do it on the way home from work on Monday or something like that. Or Tuesday, probably Tuesday. I might just find a random field and just talk about whatever I want to talk about and kind of go from there. So the big bit of news at the moment, I think this was last week, maybe the week before, was that Apple is going to buy Beats Audio. I don't quite know why. It seems like a really stupid idea. They're going to buy it for $3.2 billion US, which is a big amount of money to be laying down. I don't really know why though, because Beats Audio is shit. If you know anything about audio, you know that Beats Audio is crap. Well, it's not crap. It's really expensive for what you get. So for somebody I'm not going to call myself an audiophile. I kind of suppose I am a little bit, and not so much. But I like an equal footing across the board. So it has to have decent bass, it has to have good mids, it has to have good highs as well. You can't just have something that's really overpowering with bass, because then it kind of ruins the rest of the song. It's okay if you're listening to pop shit, but if you're listening to proper decent quality music, especially acoustic stuff and jazz and all those other kind of bits that use different frequencies and stuff, having just overpowering bass is not good. And that seems to be what Beats Audio stuff does, not to mention the fact they're insanely expensive. And for the price you pay, you can get something a lot better for a lot less money. So why the hell would you bother? Yeah, so I don't really know why Apple are buying them, because Apple kind of stands for quality and Beats Audio kind of doesn't. So I don't really know why they're really bothering too much with buying them, because I would have thought their own internal engineers would be really good. Of all the people what they would be better off doing is trying to team up with somebody else. Trying to buy a company, that's one thing, but just get them to team up. Grab some people from Sony, for instance. You could do some really cool stuff there. Sony can license it to them. Sony would have, really good reputation there, and yeah, they won't do it because it's bad. It might look on the surface as a bad business decision, because then people will be buying iPhones as opposed to Sony phones. I personally think it's a really good business decision to be able to, to do that. And a lot of companies have done that in the past, Well, for instance, HTC teamed up with Beats Audio. They didn't buy them out. HTC teamed up with Beats Audio to create a Beats Audio experience on their phones. HP did it with Beats as well to do it on their laptops. And actually, that kind of technology, that kind of stuff, was actually pretty good. Beats Audio and HP laptops was really, really sweet. If you actually listen to some music through those speakers, they are pretty damn good for laptop speakers. As far as HTC Ones and stuff like that goes with Beats Audio, don't know, never listened to it, so don't know. It could be good, it could be bad, it could be shit. Who knows? So Dr. Dre will be worth quite a bit of money now. He was never really worth that much money, but then if he's going to sell his company for $3.2 billion, he's going to be a billionaire and he's going to be quite rich and wealthy. Not that Dr. Dre really has any... Oh, well, I suppose he did a few good songs, didn't he? But he's not like the greatest hip-hoppy, rappist guy ever. Now, a big piece of news, which really matters and that really I feel really passionately about, and everybody should feel passionately about, especially the Americans, because this affects you mostly than anybody else, which is the FCC and net neutrality, or the lack of net neutrality, as seems to be the case. So, what happened was that the FCC, and all along the FCC wanted net neutrality. They wanted to be able to have an internet that's completely open and completely free for anybody to use. No fast lanes, no slow lanes. The service you pay for, no matter whether or not you're getting, whether or not you're trying to surf Google, whether or not you're trying to watch Netflix, whether or not you're trying to watch Amazon Prime Video, whether or not you're trying to watch YouTube, all that stuff should be equal. Assuming obviously their service can handle it, all that traffic should be equal. It shouldn't be traffic shaped, it shouldn't be anything done with it. Alright? And then there was a court case against, I think it was either AT&T or it was one of the big cable companies, maybe Comcast, somebody like that. And they wanted to do something, I can't remember the ins and outs of it now, which is really bad of me, I should have researched this before, but they wanted to do something and the FCC told them, no, you're not allowed to do that, and then they took them to court and said, and basically the court said that the FCC was wrong, and said that they couldn't regulate the ISPs, because that wasn't their job, which is exactly what the FCC's job is to regulate communications, telecoms, all that stuff, and they were told they weren't allowed to do so. And so what happened is the FCC turned around and said, well, fine then, if that's the case, have no net neutrality. Go ahead, do whatever the hell you want. And at the moment, there's lots of public consultation. The chairman of the FCC at the moment, I can't remember his name either, the chairman of the FCC wants an open internet, he wants it free, he doesn't want a tiered internet. That's what he said. There's an Occupy FCC group at the moment, and he specifically said he doesn't want to scrap net neutrality because it's not fair on consumers, it's a really bad idea, and it is. I mean, if you don't have net neutrality, the small guys would never be able to get big. If you didn't have net neutrality back in the days when YouTube was founded, YouTube would have got nowhere because it wouldn't have had the startup capital to pay for the bandwidth for their ISPs and stuff like that. I'm hoping the public consultation goes through really well. If you do live in America, make sure you write to your senator, make sure you write to your representative, speak to them on the phone, go to one of the public hearings, public meetings, and write to them. Because if you don't write to them, then there's no point. You may as well just not even moan about anything democratic, because that's the whole point of it. Yeah, they might disagree with you and go with whatever the lobbyists say anyway, but at least you've tried your best. And some senators, a majority of senators are actually pretty good, yeah. There's the odd few that are lobbied and that will be taken out to lunch. As much as it's illegal, both in this country and America, it's kind of what happens. Yeah, so make sure you do that. Make sure you write to your senator, write to your representative, and tell them what you think. Tell them the FCC are wrong. Tell them that you are paying for a service and you don't want to have tiered internet where there's some fast lanes, some slow lanes, and stuff like that. There's lots of there's a few websites going around at the moment. The Electronic Frontier Foundation is probably the best place to go for information about stuff like that. They're fighting the good fight, as it were. There's a few other ones. I think it's called fightthefcc.com. I think there's another one. I'll put them all in the description below just to check it out, just because they do things like draft letters you can send your representative and things like that. For us in UK, it doesn't matter so much because this is just from an ISP standpoint. However, if things need to go through ISPs, so for instance YouTube, because this isn't how it would work, but for instance if YouTube had to go via a Comcast ISP and then back through to us in the UK, it could mean that we get slower internet or slower YouTube-ness. That's like a theoretical thing, but that's kind of maybe why it would matter to us. Also, it sets a precedent. As much as the European Union wants net neutrality, the European Union is a great, I never used to like the European Union because it takes the power away from the governments and stuff for certain things, but for some stuff, including this, really great. The European Union is really fighting the good fight on net neutrality, as is Germany, because Germans love privacy, they love net neutrality, they don't want big businesses taking over their shit, because that's, the Germans are like that. They love independent places, and they don't like big businesses, and they hate the likes of Cisco, and they hate the US, and which is great because, well, not hates the US in that kind of way, but hates mass surveillance and all that other kind of stuff. In other news, Far Cry 4 was officially announced, which will come out in November. There was mixed reports I saw from different news sources saying it was going to come out in November, and then some saying it was going to come out in March. And this wasn't like from a couple of months ago or a couple of weeks ago. This is all kind of around the same time, like a couple of days ago. So I'm going to assume, considering the majority of the news sites are saying that it's November, I'm going to say it's November. It is actually coming out on every conceivable platform ever. So PlayStation 3, Xbox One, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. So that'd be great. And by then I'll have a new PC as well. So I'll be able to run it maxed out, which would be fantastic. Apparently it's going to be set in the Himalayas as opposed to this. I don't know where it's actually set in the moment in Far Cry 3. I'm actually going through Far Cry 3. I never played it when it first came out because I was disappointed with Far Cry 2, and it was really expensive when it came out as well. I think it was like 35 quid, maybe 40 quid for PC, and I was like, I'm not going to pay that. And then it was in a sale, so I bought it, and it's a fantastic game. If you haven't played Far Cry 3, go and buy it. I think it's about 15 quid at the moment. So it is really good. I urge you to go and play it because it's a really, really good game. It takes ages to complete though. I don't know how many days how many weeks I've been playing this for now. In terms of actual real weeks, it's been, I don't know, it's been months. In terms of actual gameplay weeks, it's probably not been that long because I don't actually spend much time on my PC now because I live at my parents' place and I have to work and I have to commute, and so there's no time in the day to actually play games. But hopefully that will change when I get a new job. Stick here for more information on that. I've applied for a higher ranking grade than I currently am on. So yes, I am now employed until December, so which is half good, I guess. But I'm looking for work elsewhere. So if you know anybody that's actually looking for a decent qualified IT tech and knows your shit, let me know and I'll apply for the job, as long as it's a reasonable wage, like 22k a year, something like that. 22k a year is but some pathetic 16k a year job where they expect you to do everything, which really annoys me. Like schools and colleges, they always seem to do that. One of the great things I heard about this week, Polygon was reporting this, which is actually in behind me there, is that Sony executives are taking a 50% or might take a 50% pay cut and forego bonuses because their profits have been shit. And which is good, because actually that's what should happen to a certain extent, especially the top level executives, maybe not so much the littler guys, because they still have to take risks and stuff, and that's really good for business to take risks, and so you need bonuses to get people to take risks and and move the business forwards, even if they're bad risks. I know it sounds really, really stupid, but trust me, that's the way it is. The president, the CEO, Kaz Hirai, maybe, I don't know, that guy behind me there, he's taken a 50% pay cut, and he's not going to have any bonuses, as might the majority of Sony executives, which is really good. It's fantastic that Japanese companies always seem to do that. If they do bad, they make sure that their executives don't get paid so much. Not that they're going to get paid. They're still going to live off a decent enough wage. Thank you very much. They'll still probably take home about $1 million a year, but it's better than them continually getting a rise and stuff like that. So that's really quite good. Good guy, Sony. And pretty much finally, Apple and Google dropped lawsuits against each other. So basically, they both were at each other's throats, they had some patent wars going on, and they were in the courts, and this, that, and the other happened, and they were fighting it over. They're fighting over these patents, and it's been going on for so long. Loads of companies do this now. They fight over bullshit patents that don't really matter, that stifle innovation, and yeah, it's a really bad idea. I mean, patents obviously are really important because they protect the little guy. They protect everybody in terms of intellectual property, and you need that. But kind of having these broad, general, overbearing patents that kind of literally could apply to anything isn't what they were intended for, and they should never be accepted by anybody, by the Patent Office or anything like that. The UK is a little bit better and fairer on that because they don't just have blanket thing. Oh yeah, you can have a patent here, have a patent. The US Patents Office though do seem to just give away patents left, right, and centre for really generic inventions that literally could, that even exist already, like easily, that people haven't patented because there's no point patenting it because it's like a standard thing. So yeah, Apple and Motorola and Google, well, Apple, Motorola / Google have kind of decided they're going to drop patent charges and are going to work on patent reform, which will be really good. So I think that's pretty much all I've got to say this week. My audio this week has been provided by a Zoom H1. This little guy, because my audio failed last week, which I was really annoyed about. Basically what happened was it was in Audacity, and I tried saving Audacity. I tried to save the file, not locally, but on a network drive. And for some weird reason, it froze up. And I was like, oh no, what's happening? So I thought, okay, I'm going to have to, because I left it for 10 minutes and it still didn't respond. I was like, oh shit. So I closed down Audacity and then it failed miserably. I managed to get back random bits of it using some recovery software, using Audacity's automatic recovery software, and it didn't work very well, and it was all misaligned, and yeah, it just ended in tears. So I thought, do you know what? I'm not going to bother with that anymore unless I'm sitting down at a PC. So I bought a Zoom H1, which is currently running this. I will need to get a decent lav mic, and I probably will go and get a decent shotgun mic as well at some point, because well, actually I'll probably replace that in the fullness of time with a H4n, I suspect, or maybe even the H6 in the fullness of time, so that I can have XLR inputs and stuff like that. However, I might just spend the money on getting a decent camera. What I really want, is a Sony 4K camera. There's a prosumer one and there's a smaller one. That's what I really want. But the more expensive one is about £3,000. The next one down from that is about 1,500 quid, 1,600 quid. And I don't have that kind of money. I did think about maybe creating like a sponsored thing, so you could, because if everybody gave me £1, every subscriber gave me £1. That would be £1,000, and I could easily stump up the extra 600 quid, 800 quid, or whatever it is, to get a 4K camera. But because 4K is kind of like in the early days, I'm going to kind of hold off for a minute. I might get another DSLR in the fullness of time. But say, annoyingly, even at 1,000 subscribers, I don't earn enough to, not even close to enough, to replace equipment. So all the stuff I buy comes out of my own pocket. I'm in a kind of reasonably good position in that I've got a decent enough job that pays okay-ish, and I can kind of afford things like that. The purchase maybe next month, maybe the month after that, will be a MacBook. I will be getting one, hopefully reasonably soon, because I kind of want one, and I need to learn the technology as a technologist and somebody that needs to support users in it. I'm going to try and get a Mac. I think that probably will be a Mac Pro with 8 gigs of RAM and Core i7 and stuff like that, so I can edit it on the go. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how that pans out. I might just say, sorry, and just get a MacBook Air because I don't really need a BC machine. I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hit me up on Twitter at AzzyChill. Send me an email at azzychill@gmail.com. Comment down below about what you think about the competition. If there's anything specifically you want me to give away, you think that's obviously within a reasonable budget. Don't be so ridiculous. And how you think I should administer that? Whether or not I should do it via Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or something, YouTube comments, I don't know, or something else. I did actually think perhaps getting everybody that wants to enter the competition to make a video as to why my channel's so good, and then do like a kind of, and then basically commission somebody to create a montage of everybody's comments into one video. I did think that might be a good idea, but that kind of segregates people out, because obviously you've got to have a camera, and and you've got to have decent internet connection to upload it. So that might be a little bit, I think it'd be really fun, but it would segregate a few people out. So I think I might have a two-tiered prize system, maybe a really good prize that includes a lot of stuff, and then like a runner-up prize for some people that can't do the full, haven't got the money to do cameras and shit like that. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say on the matter. So yeah, hit me up on Twitter at AzzyChill, send me an email, azzychill@gmail.com, and apart from that, I shall catch you in a later video.